So we are a few weeks out since MagicCon Vegas happened, and one of the things that happened during that time was the Pro Tour, right? So amongst all the fun and excitement that I didn't get to go to, and maybe you did, there was actual competitive Magic being played, and a lot of people forget that. And I think that kind of goes to what I want to talk about today: competitive Magic. Where is it now, and what do we need to do to make it even bigger than it is? I think competitive Magic can become bigger and more exciting, but there are some things we're going to have to do and change, and some places that we're going to have to grow if we want competitive Magic to get bigger. And I think that speaks to my first question: why doesn't it feel big? Why does it feel like competitive Magic isn't actually a big deal? Magic is easily one of the most fun competitive card games maybe ever made, and maybe it will always be one of the goats of competitive card games. But the people who play it to competitive end, that group of people is probably much smaller than the casual players. And the formats that they play and choose are very different as well. The competitive formats of standard, draft, sealed, stuff like that absolutely is a very competitive scene. But the casual players who play things like Commander or even cEDH far outnumber those competitive players. So why does competitive Magic feel smaller than it should? Why does it feel smaller than the casual things? When it comes to conventions, those are probably more tailored to the casual player, to the fan, to the collector, than they are really to the actual competitors or the players that are there to win the competition. And these players are incredible, but I can almost guarantee you can name maybe 5 of your favorite content creators, but you couldn't name anyone who made top 8 in the recent Pro Tour. So today I want to talk about what competitive Magic could become if we change maybe these 2 or 3 things. If we really put some energy into this, I think competitive Magic could be amazing. When it comes to the current state of competitive Magic, there's a lot of things that you want from any sport. There's passion, there's drive, there's hard work, there's time and energy spent into analyzing what works and what doesn't. These are true for all sports, and they're true for competitive Magic. And big events do exist. MagicCon Las Vegas was a huge event, and there are other ones that also are big, awesome, really fun events where the lights are bright and the stage is huge, and it's set to have some really fun competitive Magic. And at MagicCon Las Vegas, we got an amazing final round. This game was amazing. It was super fun to watch. It had all the things. So why aren't more people watching it? What do we got to do to change that? I think the first thing we have to do is we have to take these competitive players that are out there on the grind, and we have to somehow turn them into as big of household nerd names as our favorite nerdy celebrities, as our favorite content creators. When it comes to sports, we know some of the goats of every sport that is ever played. We know about LeBron James. We know about Tom Brady. We know about Wayne Gretzky. Why? Because these are names that transcend the sport that they play and become something bigger than that because of just the household staple name they become, the hard work they put into it. They've mastered their craft to an extent that just everyone knows who they are. And I think we need to figure out a way to get competitive Magic players on that same platform for Magic as some of the biggest names are for other sports. Because here's the reality: fans don't just follow the games that they like, they follow the people and the professionals that actually play them. It makes it part of the story, not just the game of basketball, but the people who play basketball. That's why we watch. You probably have 10 of your favorite content creators that you consume their content over and over and over. And I don't think content creators are the problem. I actually think they could be a huge key to the solution. Content creators are already doing their job. They're bringing more people into Magic. But what if some of the first things people experience when they join up or get attracted to the game are some of these professional names? If you're a data person, let me run some data by you. Like I said earlier, the final round of the Pro Tour in Vegas was against 2 names that I'm probably even going to pronounce wrong because I actually haven't heard them before I watched this match myself. Christopher Larson and Nathan Stewer, I don't really know how to say that. Again, I'm super sorry. Had an amazing game. It went, no spoilers, but it went to the 5th game. Just such a level of competitive sportsmanship, everything you want in a game of Magic, drama, top decking, the perfect draw, mulligans. It was so fun to experience that. One of the best matches I've seen online in a long time. Do you know how many views it had? Right now it's sitting about 56K, which seems like a lot. But again, that was the best of the best. That was top tier Magic. If you look at some of the numbers some of those other matches put up, they're honestly not that great, especially when you compare them to some of your average numbers the average content creator puts up. But let's not talk about the average. Let's talk about the top tier. Let's go to the command zone for a second. In the command zone, the most recent video they put out, which is a 10-player commander game, which is wild, over 500K, 589 probably and counting. That's just them playing commander, their team, their fan base, following along on that game. That's not even counting some of the huge episodes they've dropped with celebrities like Post Malone or some of your other favorite Magic the Gathering content creators. Many Magic the Gathering players want to know what's going on in Commander, and so they go to these guys to learn about it. What would it look like if a couple of those names that are rotated in on at these tables, maybe Commander isn't their favorite format, maybe it's standard or maybe it's limited, but if we brought them in, imagine the platform they would have. And then we would take that name and know that name going into the Pro Tour. And we'd probably look for them and even cheer for them. Some content creators are doing more of this, just not to that level or the platform as some of your favorite big names. So I just wanted to say, like, can we keep doing that? Do more of that. Bring these names into the spotlight more so we recognize them when we see them on some of the biggest stages of competitive Magic. Now, there is one format that has a lot of these online content creator personalities and does pair it with a very competitive edge, and the format is cEDH. Wizards, I think we really just got to figure out a way to make that format a spotlight format at these competitive conventions and in these competitive environments. There are tournaments all over the US. cEDH is not a non competitive tournament, it is alive and well. Just Wizards aren't the ones putting on these tournaments or these events. Why? I think I understand why. Magic the Gathering is a game that's meant to be played, and cEDH is a game that's meant to be played quickly. Turn 1 wins, turn 2 wins. These are all normal things that happen in a game of cEDH, which honestly kind of goes against what Magic the Gathering is probably trying to do on paper. So they do have a little bit of an identity crisis. Do they say, hey, we want the game to be fun and enjoyable for everyone, but here's a format where it might only be enjoyable for one person for 1 or 2 turns? Yeah, that's kind of conflicting, but we've got to figure it out because some of the combos and intricacies of that format do bring a lot of excitement to the game. And we know because of all the tournaments that are already going on, people are interested in it, people are watching it, and people are playing it. There are recognizable decks, there are metas, there are win cons, things that people will notice and probably learn about more about what's good and what's not good in the game of Magic as they watch the best of the best do it at a high level. And that's true for any sport, whether it's football or hockey or even skateboarding. When you watch a pro do it, you go, oh, that's how it's supposed to be done. I see now. Maybe I should start trying to do it a little more like that. So what does official support from WotC and Wizards look like? It probably looks like official places at conventions for cEDH opens or opportunities for the casual player to go full into cEDH, and they might even find it gets more diverse if they do that. I don't know. Supporting cEDH doesn't replace other formats. It honestly probably opens the door to a ton of the player base right now getting involved in competitive Magic. The third thing I think we need to do is we need to make these big events feel like big events where the biggest, most awesome part of the event is the competitive Magic. At these conventions, they are bringing in like content creators to do some really awesome things. And I'm watching these videos. I'm watching Game Nights Live. I'm watching Pack It Up. I think these are awesome, cool takes on how to play the game of Magic. We got to figure out a way to make the main event these competitive final rounds. I don't have the perfect answer to that. I have a really good idea that I think would be cool. For the NBA and most professional sports, they do All-Star Weekend, right? They bring the best of the best and they pair them off into like different competitions and they do an All-Star game. Why don't we take some of the biggest names in the content creating Magic the Gathering scene and pair them with these competitors? What about a two-headed giant tournament where Jimmy Wong is sitting next to a top 8 player from the previous round of the Pro Tour? What if we take Rachel Weeks and a couple other high-level limited players and throw them together in a team sealed event, which that is another thing. Team sealed, we need to make that an official format. That is awesome. What if you threw Rachel Weeks in a team sealed event with a couple other professional players and got all these content creators to team up and elevate the people who are still grinding to do it as their dreams are to win these pro tours, and content creation maybe is a side hustle or a side gig that kind of came with the territory, but they're really just about the competitive play. I'm not sure what the answer is. I think that would be really fun to see, and I would totally click like and subscribe to those channels if they were doing that. Speaking of clicking like and subscribe, if you're enjoying this type of content, the type of content where we get to talk about Magic and what we like and what needs to change, go ahead and give me a follow. I would appreciate it, and it'll help you see more of this types of content and have these types of conversations. So imagine going to a convention, the final moments are of standard or cEDH or limited, and those games are the biggest thing that no one wants to miss because of how high energy and competitive they are. Imagine if those were the capstone of these big weekends. I think that would really push Magic the competitive side of it forward in a way that people might enjoy because the players are getting better. The skill base is high. We've got some of the best announcers who I really enjoy watching play online, like Paul Cheon, and he's openly said, listen, you got to be good these days to play competitive Magic. And these people are. They are thinking through these turns all day. They're playing 8 rounds, piloting some of the most complicated standard decks that we've ever had. So, what would you add to make the competitive side of Magic feel bigger? What are we missing? I welcome any and all ideas in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you guys think it would take to take competitive Magic and push it up to the platform that some of these games really deserve. They're fun to watch. These players are working hard, and the payoff they get when they finally win, it's just fun to watch. I just enjoy that. So again, if you like the content, like and subscribe and comment below. I'd love to hear your ideas. Those are 3 of my ideas that I think we need to do to increase the popularity and really make the future of competitive Magic successful. Thanks for tuning in. I am Nate. I'm a knight here at the Nerd Table, and I'll see you next time.